Okay, we are almost live on YouTube, and then we can go ahead and get started. Great, YouTube is running, and I'm going to pull up the agenda. Can you all see my screen that says ANC 1E Transportation Public Spaces Committee? Great. Well, I will now call the meeting to order. I looked at the list of participants and I did not see any other members of the committee in there, but if you are a member of the committee under a different name, feel free to raise your hand and I can get you promoted. And we'll go ahead and get started. So I call the meeting to order. This is our January 2024 Transportation and Public Spaces Committee for ANC 1E. In terms of just some administrative matters, we've got the agenda here. I'll start with the roll call, go through a verification notice, and then we can go through the agenda. So I will now do the roll call. Commissioner Jacobson, that's me. I'm present. Committee member Vital
Present.
and committee member Schaaf.
Present.
And that is it for committee members, and there are no other commissioners present tonight. This meeting was noticed to the community via listserv, social media, website, and our e-calendar. So we notice these meetings through several different ways to try to get more community engagement. And we'll now go over the agenda. We've got our consent agenda, which is just the approval of our meeting minutes from October, which is our last TPS meeting. We've got time for community announcements and presentations. And I will go ahead and bump the rock and roll half marathon discussion to be the first on the official business. I'll provide a couple of updates on our past resolutions, and then we can talk about our goals for 2024 as a committee. Are there any other additions to the agenda? All right. I will make a motion with unanimous consent that we pass the agenda as written. Is there any dissent? Great, the motion carries. Now we'll talk about the consent agenda. All matters listed under consent are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. I will now make a motion with unanimous consent to adopt the consent agenda. Is there any dissent? All right, that motion carries as well. Community announcements and presentations. Committee members and members of the community can use this time to make public announcements, distribute information, or alert the community about issues, and speakers have 3 minutes. I'll start with committee members. Do any of the committee members want to make any announcements? Great. How about members of the community? I do not see anyone raising their hand, so I'm going to take that as a no. I'll just make a quick announcement that after, I think, 6 months of asking DGS to make some progress, they are finally fixing the retaining wall on 2600 Sherman Avenue, or sorry, the 23 to 2500 block of Sherman Avenue. So there are portions of that were lots of rocks that were missing from that facade, and it looked like it could fall down. And so they started doing some of that masonry work just yesterday. So that's good to see. It'll make it a little bit safer for pedestrians walking on that side of the block.
Great. Thanks for your advocacy of that. That's it's been a persistent problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. We'll now move on to our official business. And we will start with Diane Thomas from the Rock and Roll Half Marathon. And I will go ahead and promote you to a panelist now, Diane.
Hello.
Hi, Diane. Good to
Hi.
see you again.
You too. Let me get this video going on. All my dogs are out of the room. It's a little dark. I apologize. But hi, Happy New Year, everybody. Good to see all you commissioners again. You guys are very familiar with this event. Also, I'll be as quick as possible since you have other items on your agenda. We're in the 16th year for this event, and it's a 5K and a half marathon. The full marathon has gone away, so you won't see that event anymore. Saturday, March 16th. It's usually always the second or third Saturday in March. We have a new title sponsor, and that's St. Jude's Children's Hospital is the title sponsor this year for the event. Again, it's a 5K and a half marathon. We're going to have about 2,500 runners in the 5K, and you'll see about 12 to 15,000 in the half marathon. You guys only see the half marathon. The 5K starts at 4th in Pennsylvania downtown and finishes at 4th in Pennsylvania downtown, so you don't see those runners. You'll see the full half marathon, same streets as last year. They're going to be impacting this ANC coming down Harvard Street again, eastbound. They're going to go loop around Howard's Drew Hall there at 5th and Harvard, and they're going to come down along 5th where it turns into 4th, making a left onto Bryant, going eastbound to Bryant to they hit North Cap, and they go southbound on North Capitol, excuse me. So kind of same timeline. There's one band in this ANC, and this is typically where it's been, right there at 5th and Harvard, behind Drew Hall of Howard University. So that's going to be there again. We've moved around a couple of times based on input from the community, whether it was too loud. I know there's homes right there beyond that curve there. So I think we stationed it a little further down toward, I think it's Gallatin. It's just not Gallatin, near the football field, closer to Howard's football. So we kind of lessened a little bit of that noise for the residents there along the street north of that corner. I'm doing very fast, so I apologize. The event's 5 hours total. Runners have to finish it in 5 hours. The streets last year were pretty good on our time frame. I think we were out of that area about 11:15 last year, and that was with street cleanup. So we cleared that area there. MPD, no parking as in previous years along Harvard Street on both sides for the course timeline. No parking signs will go up Wednesday the 13th along Harvard. They'll and course signs like we've done historically, the 22 by 22 chloroform signs, those will go up the Saturday before on March 9th, kind of to remind people it's coming. We'll be using Waze and Google Maps again with all the street closures so people can kind of navigate around that morning of the event. And there is a health and fitness expo at the Washington Convention Center. That is Thursday and Friday. So that's in a nutshell, Saturday, March 16th. Same time frame. I can answer any questions if you guys something came up last year that we weren't aware about, or any other concerns you want to ask me about.
Yeah, I'll let the committee members go first. And if they don't have any questions, it's totally fine.
I have one. Thanks, Diane, for the presentation. Sounds good in general. I just wanted to ask the parking restriction. What time was that supposed to begin?
It'll begin at midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah, because
Thank
the
you.
event starts at, the half starts at 8 a.m. So we don't want people to have to try to get up at 6 and 7 and try to move those cars. So I think they'll enact it at midnight. And they're not charging for towing. I think they're going to do what they call a soft tow or a relocate. If you find if anyone gets a ticket for towing or anything, I mean, they might get a ticket because there are no parking signs up. But as far as the tow goes, if you know anyone that's towed or anything like that, just kind of reach out to us. If anyone in your constituents contact you for any reason that there was a tow and it was wrong or for whatever reason, just kind of make sure we know about it. Because it's supposed to just be a real location as opposed to, giving people tickets.
Understood. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for the. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna, what time does the music start? At 8 a.m. with the runners, or just kind of when they get to
It'll
the
start with the first runner. So it starts at 8 downtown. They'll get around there. I think that's mile 6 or 7 that comes around Howard. So you'll probably see that start about 8:40, 8:45 with the first one. Even actually, our elite runners will get there about 8:30. They're moving pretty quick. So, yeah, anytime around 8:30.
Okay, great. I as a community member, I'll just say I love the Rock and Roll Half Marathon, one of my favorite neighborhood events. So sounds great to me.
Well, I love coming to you guys because this is my work ANC. So you're my work ANC. I work at Howard, so it's nice to be in front of you guys.
Well, I did not know that. That's good to hear.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I think last year you had a sign up at maybe Georgia and New Hampshire just to call out that
Was it
Georgia.
really?
I think so. Just to call out that folks wouldn't be able to drive down Georgia, or at least I think Commissioner Ray gave you feedback on that might be helpful. Are you
Okay.
planning on any additional
Yeah,
signage to just point out the?
you know, those mobile, those, what do they call them? Those signs, they're the virtual.
I know what
messaging.
you're talking about. Yeah.
We usually put those on strategic areas. So Georgia Avenue got one. In previous years, they've had one up there on that location, warning people, you know, they're not gonna be able to get across Georgia for those few hours. We've put them at like Route 50 coming in the city. We've gone downtown, just letting people know there's a special event. So you'll see that signage. But Georgia Avenue does have one. I think we do one along Connecticut because we cross Connecticut. Some of those big thoroughfares that people are gonna get stuck at.
Yeah.
We put that signage up before. We can do,
Okay.
we'll do it again because it helps.
Awesome. I think that's it. Any questions that you have for us or anything that we can help you with?
No, just really then getting the word out to your, you know, your SMDs is just so critical. I think people will, and I won't hear about it, you guys won't hear about it, which is more important. When people know, I think as long as they're knowledgeable and then kind of plan ahead, there is a community line that they can go to. It's a phone number that will come to me. I get a lot of like, hey, I'm trying to get from A to Z on the morning of, can you help? And I'm able to do that. I'm able to kind of map them around the course, you know, easily. So that number is available on the community website under the Rock and Roll. And they can go to, if you have any constituents that are trying to get around, you can refer them to our website. And that number will ring to me by email. And I can respond to them and help them get out the city if they need to get out that morning.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's it. So I'll plan on drafting a letter in support, assuming the other committee members support it, and then we can get that taken up at the full ANC meeting later this month on January 24th. You
And I'm
obviously don't have to attend that.
Yeah, I'm happy to join. Just kind of listen in case anything comes up.
Yeah, it's totally up to you. I mean, we didn't have any issues last year either, so
Yeah.
it seems like
I
it'll be
said,
fine.
it's my work ANCs. It's kind
Yeah,
of cool to hear what's going on around the Howard area. So I'm happy to kind of listen in.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time tonight, Diane. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. It's always nice to see everybody.
Thank you.
And I'll
Good
change you
night.
to an attendee now, and then we'll do our vote.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. I will now make a motion with unanimous consent that we draft a letter in support of the Rock and Roll Half Marathon. Are there any dissents? All right. Thank you so much for your support. I will draft that letter and share it with the full ANC for consideration on our meeting on January 24th. And Diane, if you're still listening, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And I will send that letter to you once it gets approved by or assuming it gets approved by the full ANC. All right, moving on. Updates on recent TPS related resolutions. The ANC passed 2 resolutions from our last meeting, one supporting the Georgia Avenue bus lanes project and another asking for stronger leadership at DDOT. DDOT still hasn't, or the mayor still hasn't appointed a more permanent director to DDOT. So not sure what's going to happen there, but that is still in waiting. Obviously, this will be something really important with us crossing. I think the final number for 2023 was 52 traffic fatalities. Sorry, 2023 was 52 traffic fatalities, unfortunately. So looking for more opportunities to make our streets safer for all road users. And speaking of which, wanted to talk about our goals for the year. So we can just do this open forum style, looking for anything from resolutions to projects that you all might have and might want to help with. Did either of you have ideas you wanted to discuss?
Yes, so actually, I wanted to start with what you had just mentioned. The really unfortunate numbers of road fatalities that we've experienced in the past year. I mean, we've the ANC and the committee. This has been on the agenda so many times, and we've supported many resolutions of this and that regarding as you said, making the road safe. Making public space the road safe for all users. What more can we do as a committee, as an ANC? Is there one thought is, other actions that other ANCs are taking, that other TPS committees are taking, that you're aware of, Josh or Ally, that we might want to also consider for our community, or just I feel like I'm at a loss for what we should be doing, but I think we need to be doing more.
It sorry, computer glitch. I know it extends slightly beyond the borders of our ANC in particular, but only just a little bit. But I know there's been a lot of stalling with the 11th Street road diet. I know there's been talk about creating a protected bike lane up there because it is a big, point of travel for cyclists, pedestrians, all that. So maybe, just kind of an idea, work with our fellow ANCs to kind of see where that is going. Obviously, like I said, it is kind of just outside the boundary of our ANC, but it still affects our neighbors and our neighborhood. I know I take 11th to work every single day. So definitely something maybe to attend other ANC meetings to speak on behalf of our ANC or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing I think about. But I do feel like there's been a lot of stalling and, promised improvements, especially with, the lack of an appointing of a permanent leader of DDOT and all that. So, I'm also a little demoralized as well starting this year off, but hopefully next year we can, get some of these projects started, and hopefully the letter in support of the Georgian Avenue bus priority lane can help make our community and DC at large safer. So that's my thoughts going into 2024.
Yeah, definitely appreciate those thoughts and agree on the 11th Street bike lane. It seems like it's been stalled for some time now. I'll take as a follow-up to reach out to Commissioner Lakatos, who is the Transportation and Public Spaces Chair for ANC 1B, and see if he has any updates. And I'm not sure if they've written a resolution. If they have, I didn't see it uploaded to the resolutions portal. But we can check with them, or I can check with him and see if they have something that we can sign on to as well. And if folks aren't aware, there's this resolutions portal that I like to use to see, and I'm just going to drop a link in the chat to see what other ANCs are doing. It doesn't have a ton of functionality, but you can at least see the resolutions that other ANCs have passed, assuming they've uploaded them to this portal. So there could be some opportunities in there. There are also likely some opportunities that we're not seeing in here, but I'm trying to think if there are ways for us to collaborate more with some of the other ANC transportation committees. So that might be a good thing for us to think about. This is actually reminding me, because I did a walk with Councilmember Nadeau and a few others down Georgia Avenue, and I'm reminded of my first conversation with committee member. I was reminded of my first conversation with committee member Schaaf about, I think it's Georgia and is it Newton? What's the hawk signal that neither of us like? Lamont, you're right. You're right.
Oh, it's
I don't think we have a road resolution about that. I heard that there might be appetite for changing that. I'm not sure if it's actually true, but maybe it's something we can agitate on and try to get more of a full stop there, because I don't know that there's anything actually preventing them from doing a full stop in that area.
Okay, that's good to know.
I'm also not sure if there have been injuries from that yet, and I'm not saying that we would want to wait until there have been injuries, but if there have been, that would be something good for us to include in a resolution.
Yeah, I mean that intersection is difficult for other reasons. One of them being that police routinely park in no parking. They idle in no parking zones for hours on end, which are no parking zones because they prevent you from seeing around the corners. So they sort of contribute to road insafety by blocking views and so on, right at that same intersection. So we might want to, consider not only just the lighting issue, but also some other aspects of what's going on there. Was
Yeah,
there,
I actually wasn't aware of them parking in. I mean, I'm generally aware of MPD parking in no parking zones, but I wasn't aware of that specific one. I
yeah,
think some ANCs have had luck in working with the commanders and getting the units to not park in those spots if it is something that we can show could be a safety concern. Um, so if you have like any sort of data around that, or just like pictures that you can take if you're comfortable, that we can work with the commander on, that might be valuable.
sure. That's a good task. I walk past that past there often enough. I can, make note of when I see them and also where exactly they are and take some photos.
Yeah. Sorry, we said Georgia and Lamont, right?
Yes.
yeah, Georgia and Lamont.
In Josh, and during that walkthrough, were there other sort of anything else that you might want to share with us about what was said or what was raised?
Yeah, so let's see, where else did we stop? Um, we stopped at Bruce Monroe to talk about some of the work that social services are doing in that park. So I know I've heard concerns from folks about the people who are loitering in the park, and um, may or may not be selling drugs there. I don't know the full story, to be honest, because it's not something that I've been working on. It's more in Commissioner Brown's purview, but there's been some work in getting more social services out there to help those folks and make sure that they have resources if they're homeless, and make sure that they're aware of drug treatment centers if that is an issue, and things of that nature. Uh, and my understanding is that I know the park there burned down. Was that last summer from an arson? Um, and that was never meant to be a park according to DPR, because it's entirely maintained by DGS. So there isn't really an appetite to replace the park equipment that's there, especially with the potential redevelopment coming in the next. Well, really, we're not sure when it might come, but it's because it's waiting on the court case. But if that redevelopment happens, it's going to change a lot of the structure of that lot, and putting park equipment in there for a short period of time might not make the most sense.
I'm not totally sure if this would fall under the purview of transportation and public spaces. Because I guess public spaces, it makes sense, but there's a stretch kind of in the lower part of like 1E on Sherman where there's just like always a lot of trash. It seems like there's a lot of illegal dumping and maybe inadequate trash receptacles in that area. So maybe working to get like another trash can put on that block on the east side of Sherman is just something I've noticed. Or maybe we can, organize a community cleanup or something and see if any of the neighbors have any suggestions or any, feelings about there being a lot of kind of trash in the street and on the sidewalk, and see if there's a way we can maybe, help beautify the street a little bit.
Do you happen to know what block? 'Cause
Um,
I live on the lower end of Sherman, and
yeah.
it's the west side of the 2500 block that has been a big problem that I've been trying to get some
Okay.
attention to.
We
So
are talking about the
yeah,
same.
what block are you talking? Oh, you're talking about the same block. You're talking about the
Yeah.
retaining wall area then, yeah?
Uh, sorry, I'm like having to like look at a map right now just to kind of.
Here, I'll pull up a map too. Because if
Yeah.
we go Sherman, it's like across from the firehouse.
Yeah. No, a little higher up. Sorry, I'm like looking at Google Earth. Very undignified of me.
So not this area.
Are you?
Nope, my screen sharing is paused.
Yeah,
Not
I was
this
gonna
area.
say.
We do see that. Yeah, now it's
Yeah, okay. Okay, you are correct. That is an area where dumping and trash seems to be an issue, but no, that is not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the east side, kind of between so like between I'd say like Euclid and Girard. There's always a lot of trash kind of on the sidewalk. I don't know if their trash pickup is on the street versus in the alley, which is how it is in a lot of Sherman, and that's kind of causing the issue. But that's something I've not done anything about this. I've not like complained to anyone. It is not the block I live on, but it is in our ANC. So it's maybe something that we can kind of talk to the community about and see if there's, if people feel kind of strongly about the, issue of trash on the street here.
Yeah.
Google Maps is not really capturing it, but if you kind of, I don't know, like we walk down that way a lot because we'll go to Whole Foods or go to, a bar and Shaw or whatever. And there's definitely, sometimes it's like blocking the sidewalk, and it's a pretty narrow sidewalk up there anyway. So just something that kind of stood out to me as I've been.
So you're saying Euclid to Girard?
Well,
this orientation's all messed up now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Honestly, Josh, I'd have to go walk and remind myself that it's like it is that general area, I believe. Yeah.
I only ask because I walk Euclid and Fairmont a lot, or Euclid to Fairmont a lot, because that's the block that I live on. And
maybe I'm thinking of Girard to Harvard. I will apologize. This is kind of a not really.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. Yeah. This is meant to be brainstorming. So Sherman.
But but maybe just better trash management for the ANC at whole. Like, see if we can get more public trash cans, which I know is a battle, or see if neighbors are having any issue with trash collection or anything like that. Just to beautify and keep the neighborhood clean. But yeah, retaining wall also definitely an issue. I just usually walk on the east side of the street.
Yeah, the retaining wall. So the challenge that I'm having with the retaining wall, and that's actually in 1B, but something that I've been trying to get fixed. As far as I can tell, what happens, and I've seen this happen a couple of times, so this is why I think it is the case from the cleanups I've done. There are people who like drive in to go out on U Street, and like I see a lot of Maryland plates late at night, and they just like open up their door and just like clean out their car and put their trash on the sidewalk, and it's very frustrating. But when I've done cleanups and focused on that area, like I easily clear like 7 trash bags just from walking up and down that, and it's like it looks very much like someone cleaned out their car, because you see like old fast food wrappers and like bottles and cans and stuff. But we did try to get more public trash bins installed there, and DPW pushed back because they try not to implement more trash cans in residential areas, which I disagree with, because I feel like their job should be to help with trash maintenance and reduction, and not just like get mad at people for doing the wrong thing. But might be a good thing for us to focus on in like oversight hearings and get people to testify at.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I know getting a trash can installed is a battle. So, but just something that, Eric and I have been noticing, and, maybe something to get community input on, like I said, like, or like host a community cleanup or something like that, and see how people on the block feel. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
or potentially a survey or something of that sort done of community members about their issues that they might be experiencing with trash and cleanliness of public space. Like I don't know the extent to which garbage collection falls within the purview of the committee. Beyond how it affects public space. Perhaps you can speak to that, Josh. Um, but one issue that I have been having, I mean, noticed recently is that um, the people responsible for illegal dumping, or basically the trash that's left on the street, have the response times have increased a lot recently. And so whereas in the past I would get a response like even the day after sometimes to reports of illegally dumped items, to now it's like 2 weeks or more, if you hear anything at all. I don't know if you folks have experienced that at all, or heard of others who might have noticed that.
Yes, there was a mattress at the corner of Sherman and Kenyon that I submitted to 311. I think 4 or 5 times. It was originally like a full bed, and that got reported, and then eventually the bed went away, but the mattress stayed for about 3 or 4 weeks, I think. And I submitted 311 requests. I had friends who live in the area commit 311 requests, but yeah, we've definitely had some issues with illegal dumping and rate of response. And it blocked the sidewalk in front of the school. It was a whole thing. I tried to make it sound as dramatic as possible, and did not get a response for a while.
Yeah, things like that. We should feel more comfortable just like escalating to either me or other commissioners, and we can pull in someone from the agency. It doesn't always mean that they will respond quicker, and it's not a sustainable solution. But if there are things that we are more acutely concerned about, then that is a lever that we can pull. I guess that's reminding me of just like the bike lanes in the area. I feel like when I bike on Kenyon, it's not like I don't see a lot of trash, but have you all had any experiences with that or other bike lanes?
Um,
I guess like
Kenyon,
9th can be a little dicey at times with broken glass.
9th can be a little dicey with broken glass, or if you're there on like a Saturday, Sunday morning, kind of before cleanup has, lots of pizza boxes and stuff like that. But Kenyon usually is pretty good, I'd say, an occasional water bottle or so, but I have not had any issues with trash in Kenyon. And like, yeah, glass and the occasional trash in 9th, as you said, but nothing
Yep.
too horrible.
One thing I have seen on
Oh, go ahead.
Kenyon and elsewhere are piles of leaves that can be a little
Mhm.
hazardous. I don't know, I don't know how they ended up being there, if it was that people put them out after the leaf collection in that particular street took place, or something else. But I have seen that hazard elsewhere in the district as well, in the last month or so.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say I'm more worried about leaves in 9th, or I'm sorry, in Kenyon than trash or other.
That's
Um,
fair. Or is the leaf situation better on Kenyon at this point? Or
Not especially, no.
okay,
It's, I believe, close to Georgia Ave, in
yeah.
the sort of within a few hundred feet of Georgia Ave. There are a couple of large piles in the eastbound lane. I guess that yeah. I mean, it'd be great if someone cleaned them up. I have not submitted a 311 myself, but I certainly could do that.
yeah, that would be a good start. And then maybe there's something we can do to try to be more proactive about it next year, or I guess this year, 2024.
So the actually, do you I about a year ago I had submitted a 311 regarding some kind of obstruction in a bicycle lane, and I received a response saying I should email someone at DDOT with the email address, and I never received a response from that person. Doesn't do we know that the 311 is actually able to deal with obstructions of bike lanes, and or does anyone have experience with that?
I thought they were, but let's see.
Yeah, I'll do that. I use that bike lane every day, so I'll take a photo.
I was actually just gonna pull up through one, but yeah, maybe you can just
Yeah.
take that as a follow up, and then if you do end up emailing someone at DDOT, let me know, and or you can just CC me directly on it.
Okay.
Uh, do either of you know anything about the ongoing construction at Sherman and, oh boy, what is that intersection? Sorry, again, looking at Google Maps.
Harvard.
Yes, yeah, kind of by the gas station, and what the
Yes.
plans are for that, and when that will be finishing up, or anything.
I do. Well, so it's a Pepco substation. That much I know.
Okay.
That's why it looks very fake when you get up close and you're like, these aren't windows.
Yeah.
I don't know when they're supposed to be completing it. I thought it was a while ago, but I'm honestly not sure. I will follow up and see if anyone else on the ANC has more details, and if not, we can follow up with Pepco.
Yeah, it's like one of those construction projects that I feel like it's like so routine to me now that I'm just like, oh, like when it goes away, I feel like it will be more shocking to me than it being like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, because
But
it's been ongoing for like 3 or 4 years at this point, right? It just
very
feels like
long time.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and it is very obstructive for biking through the area if you are a brave enough person to bike down Sherman, or if you're trying to walk down that side of Sherman. On a, I guess, less serious, more fun note, I'm going to make a note to follow up on the diving board for Banneker, because that's supposed to be coming back this summer, and I want to make sure that they actually have that work scheduled.
That's fun.
It is going to be a smaller diving board, though. I think I shared that with the committee last year, but I can give an update again if folks don't remember and want an update.
There are any other improvements to Banneker that were in the pipeline? Or
That
was
were
it
what?
just been that one? Was it just the diving board because of the safety issue with it, or were there other changes that were also being considered or in progress?
Um, well, they had AC issues for like the first half of the summer that I think eventually got fixed. They were missing swings that took them about 8 months to fix, but those are in place as of September. I think like half the fence around the tennis court on the back half fell down, which made tennis matches a little bit more difficult, but that was fixed. And I think they want to reopen the concession stand, or do something with that area, because there's already like a built out concession stand at Banneker that isn't in use. But I think it's, I don't know, I wouldn't say necessarily anarchy, but it feels like anarchy there sometimes in terms of like, I don't think people are supposed to, but there are definitely people who just walk around and sell beverages from coolers and things like that. I don't know how often people go to Banneker, but I love it, and it's fun.
I don't go as often as I'd like, but every time I'm there, I have a good time.
Yeah. And then I did get an email from a community member around the baseball field at Banneker, and the Little League there is doing some fundraising to try to make a lot of improvements to the field. So I'm going to chat with them and see what we can do to support it, because I think a lot of it is just working with DGS and DPR to get approval to implement those changes themselves. The one thing I need more community feedback on, though, is that they have concerns about the additional playground that was built next to the school, because there's actually, it might be easier if I just show it on a map. Let me pull up a map quickly.
Which entity controls that lane?
It is part of DPR. I see it on this map. Ah, okay. So there's the playground here, and then I think in 2022, DPR put another playground here, I think because of the school coming back. And there are concerns about balls flying over the fence and potentially injuring people that are playing in this playground. If you can see my cursor. We had talked with DGS about putting up a net here, and I don't know where they landed with that, but that might be a good compromise because I've seen at times this playground get pretty busy and folks end up using this playground, and I'm just not sure what the impact would be if we actually remove this additional playground. But also, if there's an opportunity to just put up a net and resolve that issue entirely, that seems like a good place to go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else with Banneker. I don't think so. No.
Can you show where's the concession stand? I've never been there when it's been open.
It's never been open, or at least hasn't been open in a
Ah,
long time. It's right here though. It's this little building.
okay.
You might actually be able to see it from here. Yeah.
That's like the closed off area kind of at the
Okay.
back of the pool usually. I feel like that's kind of like a do not walk here.
Yeah, it is pretty close to the pool, but there's a spot here to like queue if they had it open.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I don't know.
And if there were, I mean, an opportunity for a local business to, I don't, like, is it a concessionaire that would presumably operate it, or who would operate it?
I don't know. I'm actually not sure what other pools do that have concession areas, or if they have concession areas.
Mm.
I don't recall concession areas at the pools that I have visited, but and then the only other thing is I'm working with some other commissioners to plan another sidewalk palooza, and maybe we can do something that's that covers more of the 1E area, because when I did it, it was mostly the southern end of 1E, just because I didn't have folks hosting in other areas in 1E. But that could be a good opportunity to do more of a sidewalk inventory. And there was actually a lot of success from that. We got a lot of the area on Sherman near me repaved as a result of that, because we put in so many requests.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Is there
So
anything
there
else that we're
was,
missing, or go ahead.
I just wanted to, one other thing that I had on my mind for this year was returning to an idea I had shared before and unfortunately didn't get to take action on, was to do like a survey of the bicycle lane infrastructure in the ANC, and just assess it to based on the current standards, and then maybe make some recommendations for improvements as well. So that, it's a very general vision, but I do want to get back to that this year. And I know Ali had expressed some interest in working on that, so I'll be in touch, and we can do that hopefully together.
Yeah. Maybe get some nice, not too cold weather. You can head out. This is maybe looking really far in advance and kind of above just our ANC's pay grade, but Georgia Avenue open streets, I had a great time. Definitely doing everything to encourage a continuation of that, and maybe try and expand, the open streets program to what it was, during the pandemic, when I think there was an open street in every ward. That was wonderful. And it was unfortunate that we only got a couple this fall. So, maybe sending a comment to the mayor, the other ANCs to support, an expanding of that program, because I really think a lot of people enjoy it.
I agree. It was very fun. I was also surprised to see them give away so many bikes.
I know. You got very lucky.
I missed it, unfortunately. Next year they're giving away e-bikes.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, is that now that the e-bike rebate is officially, um, law of the land, so to speak? Is there a way we can kind of make like include that in like a newsletter to the community or something like that? That definitely is part of transportation, just to encourage the uptake of e-bike use in the neighborhood, and um, just get the word out, because I feel like there's a lot of great programs like this in DC that people just don't know about. So some kind of way to encourage the community and make people aware of free money, basically.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think they announced that the program, I think their goal is to have it ready by March, and then how it would work is there would be a portal that you go into and sign up to get the rebate, and then you could use that to purchase or you could use that toward the purchase of an e-bike at a participating retailer in DC. So I think once they release a little bit more information, we can point people to that in the ANC newsletter. It's a good idea. Is there anything else? Cool. Okay, I think those are the 10 seconds I've been told to wait before moving on. All right. That is the end of our meeting. Is there any other items that we didn't get to that we should have discussed?
Nope.
Cool. Well, I make a motion with unanimous consent for us to adjourn the January ANC1E TPS meeting at 7:49 p.m. Any dissent? All right, the motion carries. The next TPS meeting is for February 7th at 7 p.m. So roughly 4 weeks from now. So looking forward to seeing you all then.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank
y'all.
you. Take care.
Have a good night. Happy New Year.
Good night.